A Jewish Girl in Paris by Melanie Levensohn, published by Pam Macmillan, and this is a dual timeline story that is set in both World War II in Paris and then heads forward to 2006 to Washington DC. In the author's note at the beginning of the book, the author talks about a serendipitous event. So her name is Melanie Levensohn, and she was told at a social function that in fact there was a family member also called Melanie Levensohn who lived through World War II and was deported to Auschwitz, and in fact there was no trace of her that they could find thereafter. And somehow that serendipitous event actually prompted her to think of a novel and to recreate an imagined story based around that fact that actually happened within her own family. World War II, Paris and the German occupation is beginning to tighten. This is the story of Judith, who is a young Jewish woman who is living her life in the city, but gradually feels the oppression and pressure of living under the jurisdiction of the Germans, and of course it's very, very dangerous. She has a burgeoning relationship with Christian, a lovely young man who kind of takes care of her until the point when it all becomes far too dangerous, and they have to find a way forward as best they can. Forward to 2006, and that is the story of Béatrice and Jacobina. Now Jacobina is living a fairly frugal life, and Béatrice befriends her, and she discovers that Jacobina is actually looking for her lost sister who disappeared, and she has no trace of her, and she promised her father that she would do her best to see if she could find her sister. Now she knew nothing of her sister because her father had his daughter with another woman, and so at his deathbed, when the book opens, this is the first she knows of a stepsister, and that of course is very difficult knowledge to deal with. So she leaves a little while. 2006, Béatrice is the person who is kind of like the vehicle to enable her to actually do some research, and she's well positioned for that. Béatrice has her own complex personal life which she has to manage, and of course we know that the story in World War II and the story in Washington DC in 2006 somehow are going to blend as we come towards the end of the story. I very much enjoyed reading this book. I think in the early few chapters you could sense there was a reticence, and it almost felt like quite stiff writing until the author found her stride, and then she takes the book forward. So you can sort of see how the author develops as she is writing, and by the end of it I found it quite involving and a good read. So A Jewish Girl in Paris by Melanie Levensohn is, I think, one for your bookshelves if you like this kind of period history detail and a sense of mystery.